Going live. We are live talking about two working nasal passages. In through the nose, out through the nose. Are we getting slowly suffocated by tolerating one nostril that's half blocked? Are we snoring at night where we could use a CPAP machine, but we reduce our life quality because we've got 1.0 working nasal passages? Is this our ability to spend the next 19 minutes, 30 seconds focusing on what in the world is Larry Chang going to talk about for 20 minutes when it comes to two working nasal passages? Can't you just TLDR this to me in under a minute? No. Why? Because breathing clearly via two nostrils is not as basic as you might think. Who is my mentor for two working nostrils? Who? That would be Tom Brady, the human, who's able to snot rocket, for example. Not that straightforward because it's not possible. It's not for everybody to do. Why? Because the stages of being able to exhale is not always possible until you repeat effort do it 20 to 40 times via page 52 of James Nestor's book, page 53, Breathe. Nadi Shodhana breathing, where section 1 of two working nasal passages, section 1 is audit. How clear are your left and right nostrils? Number 2, the repetition of alternating nostrils in the effort and practice of building up two free working nasal passages. Is this the most basic video you've ever heard of, ever done? Basic in that, are you doing 20 minutes of content on breathing so that way you can two nostrils while you fix your brain in not being able to focus? Checking in by auditing, which is portion number 1 of this video. Portion 2 is a practice, not just of, oh, my right nostril doesn't work, so what? Or my right nostril is semi-clogged, now it's slightly more open. Thank you for trying to fix my broken nostril. When I'm talking about my left and my right nostril, I'm thinking can't stop, won't stop, two working nostrils. Can't stop, won't stop, two working nasal passages. The comedic relief of Nadi Shodhana breathing, which is us breathing together in a practice while we focus our brain on currently 0 working nostrils to 2 working nostrils. That would be the comedy second joke in a video that's been less than 5 minutes long, which is you're a mouth breather and you're becoming ugly. Why? Because mouth breathing causes you to be ugly long term. Is this right out of James Nestor's book? Yes. Are we doing a free sponsorship for biohacking? No. This isn't a free sponsorship. This is a get paid extra life sponsorship. Who's got 2 working nostrils? This guy. This guy's got 2 awesome nostrils. How many working nostrils do you have? Let's practice section 2 of 2 working nostrils, which is Nadi Shodhana breathing. So what we're doing here is, 1, making sure our dog doesn't fall. This is our hand format. It's almost like hang loose, but we're adding in a shocker. What does the shocker do? It's not 2 in the pink and then a thumb also in the pink. 3 in the pink. Nope, it's not that kind of video. It's a breathing nostril alternative. Hot Girl Entrepreneurship Club. In through the nose. Did you hear a clog? No idea. No idea why. In through the nose. Out through the nose. I'm not trying to smell pussy fingers in my fingers. That's not what this exercise is. It is if you've got pussy on your fingers. What this is meant to do is check in on, can you spend 20 minutes on one video optimizing your breathing? Where if, this is financial advice, if you're depressed because you're retarded, maybe you're holding your breath. If you're not as high in athletic performance, maybe it's because 1.6 of your 2.0 nostrils are currently plugged up. Maybe this is the first time you've ever spent 20 minutes doing something good for your health treasure, where maybe you haven't invested time in saying, oh, this is my second Larry Chang video of the day. This is what I gleaned from spending 4 minutes pseudo reading James Nestor's book that was presented initially at biohacking. Ditto biohacking, ditto beyond, which is a conference that's going to help you breathe through 2 nostrils as you meditate via Joe Dispenza. Beyond May 27 to May 30th, 2026. When you have 2 working nasal passages, is your energy gonna seem limitless? Initially, yeah. Why? Because you don't think that mouth breathing is different from nasal breathing. This is why when you use drugs in through your nostril, you end up destroying your nasal cavity. What we're doing here is counterintuitively improving our nose. Is this Joe Rogan interviewing James Nestor? Yeah, but this is more like a book summary where I'm summarizing James Nestor, who recently was interviewed by Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss for our nose job. Is that a brand new joke from the 4-hour work week? The 4-hour nose job. You can write that as a essay based on this hilarious content. Why is this content hilarious? Because Tim Ferriss still can't CPAP his own nose because he confessed while speaking to another friend of mine, James Nestor. So it was two friends speaking like it was two working nasal passages, knowledge in, knowledge out, which was Tim Ferriss telling James Nestor, I don't breathe very well at night, which causes his face to not heal. That's why the 4-hour nose job, that's hilarious to me. And if it's hilarious to you, and if it's hilarious to me, eventually it'll be hilarious to you because later you'll figure out why I think it's so funny. 4-hour nose job. That's your essay for making fun of Tim Ferriss while getting attention from Tim Ferriss by asking the question, hey, what does Larry Chang know and execute that Tim Ferriss wasn't able to know and execute, even though Tim Ferriss, author of 4-Hour Workweek, had James Nestor on for close to 2 hours. This is the confidence that comes from having accomplished half of 20 minutes in 2 working nasal passages. Here's your confidence. You can surpass Tim Ferriss' knowledge of James Nestor. James Nestor, the author of Breathe. James Nestor, my friend who wrote this book that we get to financially benefit from, where you don't have to invest $15. You can just benefit from turning this 20-minute video into a essay called The 4-Hour Nose Job. Somebody comment 4-hour nose job so that way you can get the ball rolling on this essay as your first book report. You see, what we're doing here is simultaneously fixing our 2 broken nasal passages while fixing our ability to write a book. Initially, a baby book. Initially, a book report. Maybe you've written a book report, but not in the last 7 years because you kind of suck at YouTube. Whereas I am pretty darn good at YouTube, right? Pretty good at it to the point where I will do off YouTube content for Hot Girl Entrepreneurship Club. When we take something that is funny, which is 2 working nasal passages, add in more comedy of 4-Hour Workweek, add in a joke, which is 4-hour nose job. We can give ourselves a nose job. 1, citing James Nestor with Joe Rogan, where your nose physically changes when you do Nadi Shodhana breathing. Nadi, N-A-D-I, Shodhana, S-H-O-D-H-O-N-A, Nadi Shodhana breathing. Page 43, baby. Page 43. Page 43 of James Nestor's book. Are you doing a cheat code of James Nestor, page 43? Because what you're expanding on is the fact that the value of that whole book can be summed up with, why is your nose broken? Meaning, why does your nose not work optimally? Well, because one of the nasal passages, it's clogged. Are you going to then do a nasal inhaler? Are you embarrassed about trying to blow your nose? Are you going to breathe because somewhere someone told you something wrong, which is, oh, nose or mouth, it doesn't matter. Is this going to cause women to blow me slightly better? Yes, that's the benefit of nasal passage breathing, because you'll probably end up being able to get a slightly higher quality boyfriend because you won't be mouth breathing a blowy. Will you change your frame of thought, which is, now is pretty much the best time for you to improve two-nostril breathing? Will you remember to do 10 minutes of Nadi Shodhana breathing once per day? Because breathing is conscious during these 20 minutes of, comma quote, 2 working nasal passages. But the other time of the 23 hours and 40 minutes is unconsciously just lazily breathing in through your mouth, out through your mouth. Where mouth tape, if we're taping our mouth when we sleep, people who are able to successfully mouth tape for 7 to 9 hours per night report dramatic life quality improvements. Is the entire value of this video summed up in the last 5 sentences? Yes, because 4-hour nose job is basically 7 to 9 hours of successful mouth taping, where, let's say initially you're not demoralized because you can mouth tape for under 3 hours. Then, when you get to an inflection point of waking up in the morning and your mouth tape is still sealed, now you're thinking to yourself, whoa, Larry Chang's the smartest person in Silicon Valley, because we went from 0 of 9 hours or 7 hours slept to a fraction of 7 hours, a fraction of 9 hours where you can mouth tape. So the fraction goes from 1 of 7 or 1 of 9 to 7 of 7, that's 100%, or 9 of 9, that's also 100%. Now you're sleeping through the night using your own constrained CPAP, constrained positive air pressure. Being able to CPAP your own nose is what Michael Jackson tried to spend millions of dollars on with trying to sleep in a hyperbaric chamber. Is this where I bring up some biohacking content that is a $80,000 chamber to help you breathe better? You tell me. How valuable has this content been? Your homework assignment, should you choose to no longer be a pansexual neurodivergent, is label this as an essay called The 4-Hour Nose Job. How good looking is my nose? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. How good looking is your nose? Is this the conclusion of 2 working nasal passages? It is. How are you guys watching this on YouTube, loving it, but then not liking it? Like, are you trying to be a jerk to yourself? Where you're like, oh, I'm going to be really, really mitigated with my liking. I'm not going to like it, even though this was the most awesome video we've ever experienced together. Why? Because 1, you might have even taken notes. 2, you have connected the fact that this is just reading a book. You could have read this by yourself instead of having a Chinese guy bark pages aloud that are coming from Hot Girl Entrepreneurship Club over on Twitter. Look at how fluffy my dog is. Look at how fluffy my dog is. Hey Brady, do you have 2 working nasal passages? I bet you do. Brady, you're such a fun dog. A fun dog. That's fun. What's up? You made it all the way to the end.